We've all seen the adverts. Pretty much everyone on the internet is telling you to leave your job and go work for yourself. If you're not already side hustling your way to $1 million, you should flip your soy boy boss off as you hand in your resignation to carve out your own destiny. But there are some huge dark sides to running your own business that the hustle and grind world will never tell you about. So allow me to piss on this parade. Here are 10 reasons why working for yourself absolutely sucks. Number 1, you are only ever accountable to yourself. Not having to answer to a boss sounds fantastic. No more pointless Tuesday morning meetings and no one whinging if you return late from lunch. But that accountability provided structure. Now, not only are you the guy doing the work, you're the guy telling the guy to do the work. So no one is going to tell you off if that email doesn't get sent on time or that presentation is a little bit over budget. The only person who pays that price is you and your business and your accounts and your long-term financial prospects. After 15 years of running businesses, I can tell you that being both the organ grinder and the monkey is exhausting. And flip-flopping from neuroticism to apathy isn't a good situation. Number 2, never knowing when you're finished. Many people start their own business to take control of their time, but being in charge of your own workload means that there's always something else to complete. Instead of having a prescribed list of tasks to move through before 5 p.m, now you have a never-ending conveyor belt of things to do. Over time, your life can become invaded by a permanent sense that there's unfinished work. This ambient to-do list anxiety may well help you to stay competitive, but that doesn't mean it will actually increase your quality of life. Over time, your typical finish goes from 5 to 6 to 7 p.m, and it's very hard to turn around once you've started down that road. This can turn into a vicious cycle of mounting workloads and increasing guilt, leading to more work and more guilt, and so on and so on. The price that you pay in missed events, time with friends and family, and just opportunities to experience life is real. Yes, you are your own boss at work now, but your work has become the real boss of your life. Number 3, attaching your sense of self-worth to the success of the business. I spent most of my 20s feeling great when the businesses were doing well and terrible when they were doing badly, even though most of their performance was out of my control. This is a recipe for disaster. You can do all the things correctly. You can send the emails on time and come up with awesome marketing campaigns and create the right product, and the market responds in the way the market responds. Especially if you're a young entrepreneur, this is a real risk. You're basically outsourcing your sense of happiness and well-being and confidence to a third party that you have a negligible control over. Previously, there was a buffer, right, between your work and its outcomes. But now it feels like a direct relationship. If you are what you do, then your value is how well you do it. You care about your business, so obviously you want to do something that makes you feel proud and fulfilled. But very quickly, this can turn from emotional investment into identity attachment. Number 4, permanently having to create your own motivation. In a normal job, you externalize motivation to your colleagues and your boss and the company rules. But this support system is no longer there. Even if you're starting a business with colleagues and employees, the buck stops with you now. If you don't do it, it won't get done, and no one but yourself can motivate you. This can become absolutely exhausting. Now, not only do you need the motivation to do the work, you need the motivation to tell yourself to do the work. This drains your willpower reserves for other things, not only in your business, but outside of it too. Your motivation to train hard or stick to a diet or build a new habit will suffer because of how much effort you need to expend just to keep your business going. Number 5, holidays and downtime barely exist. I spent 204 Saturdays in a row setting up the same club night and never took a holiday which lasted longer than 4 days until I was 26 because I was terrified of leaving my business for too long. I only went on reality TV because they promised me that they could get me back to our event ready for the doors to open on a Saturday night. Your competitive advantage comes from noticing things that your competitors don't and being more detailed and creative and consistent. This is the superpower of a small, agile, lean startup. But it's really hard to switch off. Even if you do manage to shoehorn some time away in, that doesn't mean that your mind will be on vacation as well. You will be on holiday, somewhere warm and sunny and lovely and relaxing, thinking about a project that you need to finish when you get back to your laptop. Also, genuine creativity comes from stepping away from the tasks that you need to do. The reason that you were probably good in the first place is that you were able to see things that the rest of the market wasn't. If you're not careful, you can spend so much time ruminating about work that you never get the distance needed to actually be creative. Number 6, never being certain if what you're working on next is the right thing. When you're both the person who makes the rules and follows the rules, you can get caught up spending a lot of time questioning instead of executing. There are no standard operating procedures for you to follow. Usually, if you had a question about what to do next, you'd just ask your boss. This outsources the decision-making and the culpability for getting it wrong to them. Now you don't have that free pass. Even after a while, when you've created a typical working routine, the fact that you made the routine will always leave you with this distracting sense that maybe you should be doing something else. Number 7, no assurances about income. Another reason people start their own business is because they want to be in control of making their own money. No longer are your efforts and your outcomes detached from each other. Now you take on the risk and receive the reward. But there are no assurances here. The market does not give a single shit about you. It doesn't care how hard you've worked. You can do absolutely everything right and watch your revenue get chopped in half next month. Some months you'll double your income and some months you'll make nothing. You need to ask yourself whether you can handle this. Really think about it. In a normal job, you'll receive your paycheck no matter how the company is performing. Some people are built for this monetary orderliness. They like stable, linear progression that they can predict, and it makes them feel safe. If you strike out on your own, you become your own pension, backup plan, holiday allowance, sick leave, and pay rise, all rolled into one. Watching your financial security get ragged around at the mercy of market forces isn't fun. Number 8, it becomes much harder to get a mortgage. Buying a house or building a property portfolio is on many people's lists of financial goals. If you're in a typical employment and have about 25% to put down, you can usually find a bank to lend you around 5 times your annual salary to buy a house. If you're self-employed, however, the bank will scrutinize your accounts much more closely. In the UK, you'll need to provide 3 years of SA 302s, which are the self-assessments of annual income. Plus, they may even dig deeper into the sources of that to look at wages, dividends, and any other forms of income that you've received. I don't know how it works in America, but I can't imagine it's any prettier. This means you essentially cannot get a mortgage if you've been self-employed for less than 3 years. That might not sound like long, but if you're holding up your ability to enter the market or move into a dream home, it will feel like an eternity. Number 9, paperwork. Even if you have a huge team and a shit-hot assistant, you will have to deal with more paperwork. Realistically, you'll probably have to do most, if not all of it yourself. Articles of incorporation, bank accounts, trademarks, leases, business rates, and then constant ongoing checks of these is beyond tedious. Yes, it's cool to have a bank account with your company name on it. But no one talks about the headaches of submitting your annual expenses every year or dealing with inquiries from Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs. If you're administratively minded, this may be fine for you, but if you're already cutting it tight to meet a deadline, finding out at 3 p.m. on a Friday that you've got an intellectual property dispute to deal with is an ugly situation. Number 10, always feeling like your work could have been better. You probably want to start your business because you're passionate and talented at something. But if there is one way to turn a love into a labor, it's to monetize it. You don't know what time you're supposed to finish, or specifically how you're supposed to do the job, and you don't take any time off from doing it. But even if you get past all that, you are now the final quality control check for your own work and everyone else's. The amount of time that you will spend double and triple checking work cannot be understated. You will wake up in the middle of the night sweating because you realize that a slide is missing from tomorrow's presentation, or you'll need to hotspot off a tour guide's phone to update a link on the website. This is the entry price you pay for being at the top of the tree. The buck will always stop with you. So the question you need to ask is, why are you thinking of working for yourself? Presumably, You want to be happy and satisfied with your job. But all of the gains you make in increased freedom and money and input each come with an associated cost. You will use up willpower and spare time and sanity to make this happen. You need to work out if that's truly a price that you're willing to pay. Thank you very much for tuning in. Press here to watch my video on what happened when I stopped drinking for 1,000 days. If you're wanting to start your own business, you'll need to be more productive, and taking a break from alcohol is a really good place to begin. And don't forget to subscribe. Peace.